guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video that I've wanted to do for a while, but I didn't have the technology or the software to do what I wanted to do the way I wanted to do it, so I just haven't. But now that I have Adobe Premiere, I can do this exactly how I've imagined it, so here we are. I am going to be talking about all the books that I have acquired in the first quarter of the year. So January, February, March. Everything that I got in those 3 months we're going to talk about. Did I read it? Have I still got it on my TBR? Did I already get rid of it? We're going to talk about it. And I am going to have all of the books at the end that I haven't read, and I would love to hear your opinions on those. Which ones I should prioritize, which ones maybe not, because I might be doing something with those, but we'll get to that part afterwards. Let's jump into the books and I'll tell you which ones I got in January. All right, so January was actually a pretty tame month. You will see that is not the case for the rest of the quarter. I started out the year strong, reading quite a few books and having a lot of self-control as far as not buying that many books. And I actually didn't buy any books. I ended up with 2 books that were sent to me by the publisher. So the first was A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chambers, which is the second book in the Monk and Robot series. This is a series of books about Dex the tea monk and Mosscap the robot, and this book was lovely. I have read this and I am very much looking forward to it coming out so I can reread it and listen to the audiobook of it, because I did that last year with the first one. It was fantastic. So yes, I have read this one, and this was sent to me by Tor.com. Then I got a copy of Daughter of Sparta by Claire Haywood. This was sent to me by the publisher Dutton. I won this in an Instagram giveaway with quite a few other mythology related books. I have not read this one. Now let's jump into February. In February, I was supposed to fly to the West Coast with my husband to see the wonderful Stephanie from Time to Read get married, but it snowed in Texas and that's where our connecting flight was, and we never were able to get on a flight to get out there. So I had a lot of feelings in February, which is what I'm going to attribute to this mess, because I did buy a lot of books in February. So first, I went to Barnes & Noble during that week that I was supposed to be on vacation, and I bought 2 books. The first one is Goliath by Tochi Anabuchi, and I have read this. This is a sci-fi book about a near future dystopia where our race and climate issues are really in the forefront, and we're really seeing what would happen in this type of society when the Earth is uninhabitable and space travel is for those with money and power. So this is about those who get left behind, and it was really good, really interesting. Glad that I read that one. Next is The Travelers by Regina Porter, and this one is a collection of interconnected short stories. I started reading this one, but then I got distracted by several other books, so I have not yet read this one. And then I made a trip to McKay's with my copious amounts of credit that I have been building up since 2020. And I went a little crazy again because I had feelings. And I got Swimming Lessons by Claire Fuller. I am on a mission to read all of Claire Fuller's books, and this one was there. This is about a family where the mother has just disappeared, and slowly we are learning kind of her side of the story via letters, and there's a lot of like who's telling the truth back and forth in this that was very, very interesting. So this one I have read. I also picked up Several People Are Typing, and this is a workplace dystopia that is written as Slack channel chats, and it's essentially just somebody who gets stuck in their work Slack channel, and it is very much corporate America dystopian. So that is for some people, not for everyone. I have read this one. I also picked up Infinite Country, and this one is about a girl who is trying to make it to her hometown in order to get on a flight to be reunited with part of her family in the United States. She is a United States citizen, but she has grown up in her home country of Colombia, and she did something that got her put in essentially juvenile jail, and she escaped. And this is all about her story leading up to whether or not she will get on the flight, and the story of her family leading up to present day. So this was very interesting. I did read this one. Then I have The People We Keep, which I picked up again, McKay's. I don't actually know anything about this, but I have not read this. And then our McKay's had a ton of these SF Masterworks editions of different science fiction books, which I'm a sucker for, but I also have quite a few unread on my shelf. This one also unread on my shelf. But this is World of Exile and Illusion by Ursula K. Le Guin, and I believe it's just a bunch of short stories written by Ursula K. Le Guin, so have not read that one. And then last of the bookstores I hit up that week that I was off was my local independent bookstore, The Book and the Cover, and I picked up Amari and the Night Brothers, which is a middle grade fantasy about a girl who finds out that she has magic or like a power, and she gets into this special training school and whatnot, and this is absolutely amazing. The second one comes out this year, and I did obviously read this one, and I can't wait to read the next one. Then I picked up South to America, A Journey Below the Mason-Dixon Line to Understand the Soul of a Nation. And I have not read this one, but I still am very, very excited about it, and honestly can't believe I haven't made time to read this one. This is a book about the South and about racism and about America. Then I had pre-ordered You Truly Assumed by Layla Sabrine, and I have read this one. This is a story about three Black Muslim teen girls, and they start a blog after a terrorist attack happens, and you get to see the different ramifications on their lives, and the different lives that each of them live. So what each of their lived experiences is, and how they're very different. So this was fantastic and probably one of my favorite books of the year. So yes, I did read this one. I also picked up from my local indie Open Water. I actually had them order this one. This is a story about two Black artists in maybe New York. I'm not 100% sure of the city. And it's like their story. It's a love story, I think. I have not read this one. I started it, but again, it was around the same time as I started The Travelers, and there was a lot going on, so I ended up putting this back down, but I'm looking forward to reading it. And then the next one, the last one in February, is The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak, and I have read this one. It is on the Women's Prize shortlist, so I've read this one. This is a story about a family we learn this family's story over a number of years, so the mother, the father, and then there's the daughter, Ada, who is in present day, and we also get the perspective of a fig tree, and it's about Cyprus and the tensions between the two nationality groups. And yes, it's a very interesting book, but wasn't for me. I did read this one. Then in March, The Chaos Continues. That is my birthday month. We also went on a trip to Cleveland, Ohio for a family funeral, and on the way back we stopped in Cincinnati at what has become one of my favorite bookstores, and that's Downbound Books. It's a beautiful bookstore and they have an incredible selection that I would just like it to be my home library. It's amazing. I got Recitative by Toni Morrison, which is a story in which there are two girls. Their races are never told to you, but one of them is white and one of them is black. And through the whole story, there are different moments where you may be swayed to think one is one race and the other is the other, but then there are other moments that you might think the inverse. It's a very interesting kind of like psychological story, and I did read this one. I still haven't read this, and the paperback's out, which I was waiting on the paperback, but then I got too excited and I bought it. So I have this giant hardcover of the love songs of W.E.B. Du Bois, and yeah, this one I have not read, and I am very much looking forward to it. I think I'm going to read this in July, but we shall see. Then I got Genderqueer, which is a graphic novel about gender, and I did read this one. Then I got of Women and Salt, which I think is about Cuba. I genuinely don't remember. I knew when I picked it up what it was about, but I have not read this one. And the last one I got at Downbound Books was Tides by Sarah Freeman, and this is a book about a woman who is dealing with a lot of grief, and she goes to this seaside town to just escape everyone she knows and her whole life, and it's told in vignettes, and I am currently reading this one. Next, I had pre-ordered Sisters of the Forsaken Stars by Lena Rather, which is the second book in, I don't know what the name of the actual series is, but the first book was Sisters of the Vast Black. And I have read this one. And then there is Patriarchy Blues, has a bookmark in it because I have started this one. And this is a number of essays that are reflections on manhood and the patriarchy and toxic masculinity. I have obviously not completed this one. Then we have The School for Good Mothers, which I have not read, and I would really like opinions on this one because I am on the fence about whether or not I do actually want to read it, because I've seen such mixed reviews. And then I also picked up or pre-ordered All the Horses of Iceland, which is just like a slim little book. Has something to do with magical horses, maybe? I haven't read that one. Then we have The Bread the Devil Need, which I ordered from Blackwell's in the UK. This is on the Women's Prize for Fiction well, it was on the long list, but on the short list. And I did read this one. I loved it. This is a story about a woman who is turning 40, who lives in Trinidad and Tobago, and she is dealing with an abusive partner, and she sees a woman gunned down by her partner in the streets, and she is reflecting on her own life and choices, and it's just a really solid, incredible read. Another one I got from Blackwell's is This One Sky Day by Leonie Ross, otherwise known as Puppy Show in the US. This is wild, and I cannot describe to you what this book is about, except that it is fantasy set on an island and they have different powers, and this is hands down one of my favorite books of the year. I did read this one. And then I have this tiny little book from Blackwell's as well, which is Galatea, a short story by Madeline Miller, and I did read that one. And then just two more. I have another pre-order, which is When We Were Birds. I only vaguely have an idea of what this is about. I know this is on my most anticipated list, obviously, because I pre-ordered it. And this is one that I would really like to get to soon. I think it has to do with somebody who sees ghosts, maybe? I'm not 100% sure. I obviously haven't read that one. And then the last one I have read, which is The Employees. This was sent to me by Book Hug Press, and this book is weird. I don't have any idea how to explain this except that like it's again like capitalist dystopia, like workplace dystopia, and it is futuristic sci-fi weirdness. I do have 2 books that I do not have physical copies of anymore that I did purchase in March, which was Salt Lick by Lulu Allison. This was on the Women's Prize for Fiction long list. I DNF'd this book. I was not a fan, so it is no longer in my house. And then the other one was The Exhibitionist, which was also on the Women's Prize for Fiction long list, and I bought that one from Blackwell's. But all of the people I saw reviewing it were giving it terrible reviews, and then when I dug into why they didn't like it, it was like all buzzwords for things I hated. So I decided to pass that on to someone who would probably enjoy it more than I would, because there is just not enough time in a lifetime to read books you will not enjoy. So that one also went out of my house. All right, so these are the 12 books that I have not read from first quarter of the year. And I would love to hear your opinions on any of these, what you think I should prioritize. If you could pick one of these books, this is what I want everybody to do. If you could pick one of these books for me to read in the next month, which one would it be? You can either say and why, or just which one it would be. Leave that in the comments below. I would love that. I'm gonna put these books down now. But I hope you enjoyed that, and I would love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!